So after spending a lot of time away in August on many different adventures, I've been back and aiming to spend a lot more time with my partner, with my family, and having and kind of getting back to a better work-life balance. And the discussion has been a lot around that. I mean, it wasn't intentional that I'd spend almost the entire month away from home, but things lined up, opportunities happened that I didn't feel like I could turn down. So in that case, work-life balance skewed very much towards the work. And one of my favorite phrases and sayings is that balance is a verb, not an adjective. So there's no such thing as a perfect work-life balance. You're going to have to make adjustments one way or the other. You're going to start off leaning towards work, and then you may well have to adjust all the way back further towards life before you can come back to the middle. It's just like when you overbalance, you need to overcorrect. And the whole idea is that you try and reduce the swings. You try and keep the little motions to a minimum. That's the idea of balance. And so when you head in one direction, you're going to need to come back around in the other direction. And I feel as long as you're having open discussions with the people in your life, whether business or personal, you can go a longer time in one direction before you have to come back. And I was very clear with my partner that, I am going to be away. And in fact, the rest of this year is going to be dedicated to a big push towards making Bracken Outdoors work. And she understands that for us to have the life we want, I'm going to have to work pretty hard now. And in the hopes that I will have a better balance in the future. In fact, it's not just hopes, it's a very definite goal. And I wouldn't do it to her by making this a long-term thing where I work 10-hour days, 6 days a week forever. That's just not what I want to do, and not the kind of relationship or work I want to have. So that means that I've been scaling back a bit this week, and I've actually had some time to relax, so on. But the trouble is, when you are self-employed, working for yourself, is that it's difficult to separate the two. When you have an office job and you can just walk out of that office and switch off your phone, pretend you don't know where it is, chances are you could get away with it. Though I recognize that for a lot of people, work does have a habit of creeping into personal life, but you at least have plausible deniability that I couldn't be reached, that kind of thing. Whereas when you're your own boss, your boss can be absolutely awful. He knows exactly when you are slacking off, exactly when you can do more work, and he's tough on you. So in general, it's difficult to separate the two, and especially if you have made what was once a hobby now a job. So being outdoors was my hobby for a long time. I really enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. But now when I'm out, at the same time I'm also kind of working. Like, hey, that looks like a nice bit of hazel. That would be really good for doing some carving with the children this week. Oh look, there's some deer. Maybe I should see if I can track them, because tracking would be is an area of professional development for me. So I'd best take some time and go track these deer. It scrolls in, and it comes in other ways too, where you have people you really like that you do stuff with, and you never know quite where to draw the line between, okay, I'm offering you this as a friend, or I'm offering you this as a business. It's like, hey, can I borrow XYZ of equipment? Like, most of the time, yeah, value given. But at what point would you go, yeah, that was bought for a business, I need to make my money back on it, I'm going to have to charge you a little bit. I'm not saying that you should charge your friends as much as you would a random passerby, and there's a lot to be said for giving with no thought of receiving. But there are points where you start to go, so you've engaged my services before as a business. Are you asking me to do this as a business because you've paid me before for something? Is this expected as a freebie because I've worked for you before, or because you're friends with me, or I know you really well, your colleague or acquaintance, etc.? It becomes really difficult to separate the two. Like, hey, can you teach me this? Well, yes, I can. If you're a good friend, I will go out of my way. I will definitely teach you things. I love teaching. But then it's like, okay, would you mind coming and showing a group of us? Like, yeah, sure. What's the rate going to be? It's like crickets. Because if I don't charge for that, then I'm diminishing my own market and making it harder for me to earn a living. But then I'm thinking, well, what if I do this for free and all of those people tell someone else, and then I'm gaining market because I've done something really nice? Or I could just run as a taster and then sell them on doing a full course. So yeah, I'm still undecided as to what happens there. Like, there's certain things I've acquired for the business, like a van, and it's expensive running a van, and some people take it for granted that you'll just turn up and help them move, or move equipment for you, or collect something for you. And yeah, sometimes you might feel a little taken advantage of, and sometimes you feel like, yeah, I should get more for what I'm doing, or just throw a nice gesture. If someone does something for you, have a think, see what you can give them in return, unless the bank account is doing pretty well, as in the emotional bank account. So this is something that I use emotional bank account is something I use within relationships, and I found it very helpful. It does make things sound very mercenary, but the fact is, sometimes you need to have a way of quantifying your relationship with someone. It helps you look at both things. Basically, if someone does something nice for you, it counts as a deposit. If someone needs something from you, it counts as a withdrawal. So there are people who add in for a while, and then they have a rough time and they need to withdraw for some time, and that's perfectly okay. They might even go into the red a little bit, and provided they've made a good amount of deposits, a lot of the time it's okay. But if you have it run the opposite way, if you have it as a constant, like if they have a terrible credit score with you, like they're always taking, and whenever they have an opportunity to give, they don't, that's a good reason to reevaluate that relationship. And of course, in a business, that means going, hey, yeah, I understand you think you've got some expectations because we know each other, but I'm operating a business here and I'm going to need to charge you something. And so go out of your way if you can for people that do nice things for you. It doesn't have to be monetary. Just send them a nice message. I mean, a nice message after I do something, it's wonderful. I did something last week, took my van on a job. I I likely wasn't going to get paid for it, but I got a really nice message about it, and up until that point I was going, should I just send them an invoice? And they sent me a really nice message, and I'm like, you know what, that's payment. If you happen to butcher a deer, send me a bit of mince. Make me a sandwich. Anything. It's all good. But anyway, so work-life balance is fundamentally tricky, and you've just got to remember that it's important, whatever your job, to make sure that you have time that is really truly for yourself. Even if it doesn't feel like it's for yourself, then just run with that feeling. Go, I need to do something that really is good for me. So that, I think I've gone on long enough. This is longer than usual. So I will say, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and remember, make the most of every day, and I will see you next time.